Neverness to Everness has a lot to really prove in the Gacha world, with how the gaming space is, and right now in the Gacha world like Zone Zero, Wuthering Waves, and even Genshin Impact. Or let's take ourselves out of the Gacha space, right? Let's look at like the overall major gaming companies. We have Bethesda's shadow dropping Oblivion remaster. We have Sandfall Interactive dropping probably the game of the year, Expedition 33. And then, of course, there's also another gacha game that is on the looming horizon, Ananta, right? A very similar game to Neverness to Everness, and the fact that they're both very similar is what makes this even crazier. It just might very well seem like NTE may not succeed, and that's when 2 days ago, just when we were having fun with other games and we were enjoying outside, some of us even touched grass. Hotta Studios released a brand new trailer showcasing gameplay and a beta registration. And in today's episode, I actually want to sit down with you guys. I'm going to talk and discuss some things that I picked up from the trailer and overall just utilizing this trailer as a way to help talk about the overall future of Neverness to Everness and what that could look like. So other than that, let's just hop right into my thoughts on NTE. So starting off with number one, I want to talk about the initial and my first initial impressions and the overall tone that the trailer that they dropped showcased. So first thing I noticed was a shift in focus. Now it seems like previous trailers highlighted like some intense combats and some more anomaly encounters that we kind of would notice. And of course we had the one closed beta that happened a while ago. But this one really leans into really showcasing more of the urban environment, and as well as furthering the personalities of the main cast as we see them now. You can honestly really tell that Hotta Studios is really leaning into the marketing focus towards the world building and character appeal. Because when I look at all of the trailers, as I'll have them shown on screen, you will know that there's definitely like it's a lot going on, right? There's a lot going on, but for a slight bit, it seems like there's also not really much going on. So it takes a lot, because most trailers, the way they do trailers is you can tell what they're really focusing on, and the main focus is honestly the environment. I've seen more of the urban environment, more of the exploration. I've seen more of the characters than actual combat itself. And even just going back to 3 trailers that it recently has released, it just seems like that entirely. Moving on, we have the dynamics between all the characters. The trailer really provides more glimpses into the interactions between everybody, and it also seems like most of the cast seems like they all know each other, or this is at given points where you have built up enough of a chemistry and you can see how they all interact with each other as time goes on. And of course, you know, trailers are trailers. They're meant to hook you in. So I actually can't wait to see how the actual cast actually grows together overall as a team, and hence just of an importance of character-driven narratives within the game. The soundtrack, that was another one. So between all trailers, including the most recent one, soundtracks are a banger. I really hope that those soundtracks that we hear on these trailers are actually in game, because oh my god, it would be a great. It always gets my head bobbing and stuff when I'm listening to it. It has like these energetic tones when it's doing like the urban explorations, or the initial D reference that was also in the trailer. And it just also has some more nice, somber, more intense vibes during certain parts of the trailer. Like it kind of has a mix of both. Like it's like very pop and very like more sad and more dreary, just kind of like, you know, more slower down toned essentially. I also noticed a couple of new characters as well, and that's one I'm like, dude, like all of the new waifus are fucking fantastic. Like we're straight gooning out here, man. Also, the husbandos looks pretty cool as well, so we get a nice blend on both sides of the world for, you know, all of my peeps out there who likes their husbandos and waifus. We also got a little bit more glimpses of some of the diverse anomalies that we've come across, which for some of you who do not know, the anomalies are essentially the main antagonist, and I'm kind of put quotes around that, but they're one of the main enemies we come across. One thing I've noticed in some of the trailers and even some of the other gameplay trailers that they dropped is that the anomalies are based off of specific Oni types in Asian's folklore. And I noticed like the black man with the suit with the umbrella, I know that folklore. And there's a couple other things. There's one time where it was boxing glove demon. I don't think that was part of the folklore, but I know the man in the black suit is. But it definitely raises some questions about the different gameplay challenges as they might present, as some of those anomalies can actually alter your overall gameplay. You go from 1 minute driving down a freeway, you end up in another universe fighting a biker demon, and then another time you're just walking, you end up underwater as a mirror of yourself. Like, I like when games really alter the way your entire world is when you are entering these monsters. Another good game that did that very well was Ghostwire Tokyo. I covered that on the channel, and it's still one of my favorite games that I've beat. Of course, as I said at the beginning of this video, the main focus of this trailer was honestly just showcasing that it's coming up with a beta, and people cannot pre-register. So I did personally sign up for the beta to hopefully get into it, to show it off to you all, and how the presented content serves to just generate hype for the beta. So there's not too much going on. But even with not too much going on, I did analyze the beta just a little bit more, and they did a couple more showcases with it. I think this is a 3-minute trailer, but let's talk about the gameplay mechanics. Let's go a little bit further in that to what we already know. So of course, the beta reinforced everyone's knowledge that this is an open world, urban exploration gacha game. The entire way, like how the city is, you can go into different like locations, you can drive around almost everywhere, you can walk around everywhere, you get to point A to point B. You can also, of course, you got your car customization, which we seen a couple months ago. You can actually buy new cars. Like, there's overall depth. This feels like a Grand Theft Auto gacha game, very similar to Ananta, right? And that's one thing, like the overall urban traversal that you will see in this game is, in the trailer alone, it's just like you could tell this is their selling point. This is what they're trying to sell, as well as the city's navigation, right? You have, freedom to really just traverse the entire city. There's all of your side quests, and there's all your different anomalies and gameplay interactions that we get is going to be in the city. From as much as they've shown in the overall trailers, the city is fucking massive, and you get to explore it as much as you can just from what they've shown in the trailer. Then, of course, we always can't have a gacha game without the combat system. The overall action gacha combat has quite familiarities, and every time I see snips and pieces, that's one thing I can say I'm not the biggest fan of these trailers, is that it doesn't show too much of like the overall combat, right? There's a lot of other stuff going on that's coming at you kind of fast, and sometimes the combat is mixed in with the trailer, so we don't really get to see a lot of like in-game combat. But from what it has already been shown, just even in the trailer alone, is that it's very similar to Wuthering Waves, Genshin Impact, Zenless Zero, and it's really just giving you that real-time action. There may be other abilities as well, kind of like elemental abilities, where this character is a fire-based character, this character is a wind-based character. And there's also, I haven't seen anything about character switching, but I'm pretty sure there is, because I think you get a team of up to 3 or 4 from what I've seen in the trailers. But overall, it doesn't really showcase too much subtle differences. It doesn't really hint at any unique elements that would be easy to point out, like if a character is per weapon type, or I've seen some abilities that may seem like it's an ultimate skill for the animation, but there's not a lot really going into the combat just from the trailers alone, unless you're part of the closed beta, which I cannot wait for the new beta so I can actually finally get my hands on it and really understand what's going on. Moving on forward, alongside everything, this is a modern urban setting. That is the overall significant selling point that I'm seeing, and that's what's honestly getting it sold to most people across the board. This video, the trailer received about 2.2 million views, and it's got the fact of it's an action gacha genre, and it leans a little bit into the fantasy side of things with the anomalies in the fact, and of course we have the modern urban setting, allowing you to basically be Grand Theft Auto. You could buy cars. I think you could take cars. Like, that's kind of what's really setting this game apart. And there's a lot that this game is really riding on, for those being the main selling points, right? Because you got to really hook people in. If that is your selling point, you need to hook people in immediately with the urban open world. Because just by making this video, I have looked at every trailer I looked at 4 trailers, and the most thing that I keep getting from time and time again is the urban exploration. I see more of that, and the characters, because that matters a lot. The characters, the urban explorations, and like kind of like their personalities on screen, and then you sprinkle in the little bit of combat, the little bit of exploration, the little bit of other stuff. Like, it's just a lot going on. And the anomalies overall, as gameplay wise, could honestly change the gameplay. They can do so many different dynamic events and different quests within the open world to really make the exploration just less predictable. Now, for all of my peeps out there who are in the closed beta, and I've seen other content creators who talked a little bit about it, there is a lot of different unique scenarios that play out depending on the anomaly you come across. So that right there is like, that's another major selling point. I didn't see too much of that in the current trailer, but it's something that has definitely been known and shown to us. Moving on to the next, we have the overall visuals and presentation of the trailer, right? So, of course, as we know this game from the last few trailers, this game has quite a high level of detail in the character designs. The urban environments doesn't feel too plain, because sometimes when developers make, like, they got very crazy colors going all over the place, sometimes the rest of the world just seems very dull. So the game actually looks pretty well. The anomalies visuals really help with the modern setting, because they contrast this with the more typical fantasy settings in similar games. And just overall, just this modern aesthetic really just influences the overall feel and immersion. Along with let's talk a little bit about the character designs, right? So I really appreciate each of the characters and the way that they are designed. It just really shows they're like truly appealing. And that's like the biggest point about like these gacha games. Like, sometimes the characters really have to sell you the most when it comes to it, because, you know, most of these gachas require a lot of money. So if you're going to start putting these characters behind paywalls, you got to make them like where you want something to really grab them. Now, of course, we can be gooners and we can just have, you know, big booba waifus. But if they got just beautiful designs, great designs, and from what I've seen so far out of all the trailers, they all do. Moving on to like the sound and music. Now, every time I watch one of these trailers, the sound design that they choose is absolutely amazing. It really helps emphasize the emotional moments that the feeling on screen. And that's a nice little storytelling through music. And I really do hope that these songs are included in game, or like, since we are driving cars, we could take from Grand Theft Auto itself and we could put some of the soundtracks inside of the radios and have people listen to that while they're playing. So there's something going on. Please, if you do come across this, please make it non-copyright, please. So for us streamers and YouTubers, we can actually showcase this music to everybody. But if it is, it is. It ain't, it ain't. But overall, that's kind of like where the impact of the soundtrack comes in. This trailer one, it was pretty good. It had my head bobbing immediately, and I feel like these songs that I keep hearing from each of the trailers should just definitely just be put in game. And of course, with the music and overall the emotional moments and some of like the excitement and atmosphere that this trailer was trying to build upon, we kind of get a little bit more understanding of the core premise, which for most of it, just from people who play the closed beta, you know, essentially we're basically hunting anomalies, right? And you can actually see the characters hunting the anomalies throughout the trailer and just going on different missions and overall just trying. And then you got their interactions with each other, what the environment behind it, just kind of just showing that, you know, the nature of the anomalies and showcasing this world's history. So that's probably going to be another fun thing to uncover while we're playing through the beta. But I do have some concerns. I am a bit worried, and mainly the main point in touch of this entire video is one thing I'm mainly worried about. I got 3 things. One is the competition. The action gacha market is quite crowded, and the problem with Neverness to Everness it really needs to stand out. And the thing that I'm seeing the most, and to keep in mind, the game's not fully out yet, so it's hard to make this point hit home until it finally releases, but it is simply the urban setting. The urban setting with the Grand Theft Auto feel is what's setting this game apart. But the problem about that is there is the other fish in the sea, which is Ananta, another gacha game that is on the way that has a very similar setting. Then, of course, we have one that already came out, which is Zenless Zone Zero, another modern urban-based game. Now, all of these games are already out, and the gacha market in itself is just overall just crowded. And I just see like this game could definitely get swept under the rug pretty quickly if not handled correctly. Now, with all of the trailers and being definitely spread apart and not too much new information in between, there's very scarce information of understanding what exactly is going on or what would we expect. I know the closed beta test was very short, but it didn't get into a lot of people's hands. So as of right now, this open beta, or if you pre-register for the beta, the next beta, hopefully that can open up to a lot more people. That way we can try, a lot more people can be a lot more hyped for this game. Clearly right now, just with overall current information, just utilizing numbers, the trailer has already reached 2.2 million views within 2 days of it releasing. So the hype is definitely there, but the thing is, it's the worry of, is this hype good enough to keep the game alive for years to come? My third and final potential concern, or just overall understanding, is that how deep does the urban exploration go? It can be just a backdrop for combat, or are we gonna GTA the hell out of this? Can we go inside of all different types of buildings? Do think of GTA San Andreas with how there's so many points of interest that we can go in and we can interact with. There's getting food, there's going to a gym, there's getting your hair cut, there's customizing. Of course, you can go in, you can get your new cars, you can paint your cars. How many points of interest is in this very open world exploration? And hopefully it's not a lackluster where that's another thing. Like I said, this is coming from a place I have not touched the game, still waiting on the beta when it finally drops. But that's my big worry, is how much activities can be done in this game to keep players always coming back without super destroying their pockets or keeping them in a constant grind fest, Last but not least, couple of comparisons, and just overall, it's all of the combat from what I've seen gives me a resemblance of Zenless Zone Zero, and as well as Wuthering Waves. The open world structure of the game kind of gives me that Genshin Impact type of open world, just in a modern setting. But there is potential though for innovation. The urban setting provides quite a unique look or canvas to look at for the game, but the game really needs to leverage with the content and as well as the mechanics that needs to be distinctive from its other competitors. But overall, let me know what you guys think about Neverness to Everness. Is this something you guys are pretty hyped for? Are you guys going to be checking it out? If so, there is the beta. You can pre-register. I would definitely be there, hopefully, whenever they release that. But I know what you guys thoughts about it. Are you looking forward to it? Do you feel like this game can actually survive in the world of the action gacha genre? If so, jot it down in the comments. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. As always, stay safe out there. And it's been your host, Chaos TTV, signing out. Peace.